Perfect. All right, let's go. So yes, this is the January 13th, 2026 Rook community meeting. So let's jump on into it. We've had our exchanges of pleasantries and happy New Year's and stuff already before the meeting started, but anybody checking the recording later, happy New Year's to you as well. Let's jump into the milestones. We've got some releases this week that we're putting out. So let's do those in order here. For first of all, what's going on with 1.18 and a patch release that is scheduled for today.
Yep, yep. It's been over a month already, I was realizing, since our last patch release, and with, of course, the holidays in the middle. I think we've got a few fixes backported, and the one I want to talk about is under the tentacle section of the notes for this meeting. But basically, there's a Ceph corruption issue in the tentacle release 20.2.0
Click on that.
specifically,
There you go.
which only does not happen by default configuration at least. But if someone has enabled read affinity, which is a setting that allows you to read from the nearest OSD if you're across zones or whatever topology, if you've enabled that feature, you could get some corruption. So it's not clear how soon we'll get a patch release from Ceph to have that fix in a release. And I wanted to prevent as much corruption as possible. There is only one person I've seen that reported that they hit it on this issue. But so I thought, okay, let's disable it on the Rook side. So if somebody has enabled read affinity in Rook, we will, if we see this version of Ceph, we will disable it. It's not perfect during upgrades because because it requires applications to basically restart to remount their volumes to pick up that change in setting at the CSI layer. But at least new volumes wouldn't hit it. Anyway, that's the best I think we can do. And with that, I want to get that into the 1.18 patch release today. And um, yeah, so that's the status of 1.18. Let's get this fix out there so more people don't hit corruption.
Yeah, that's a good idea, Travis, to let's say stop the bleeding, I suppose, even though it's not widespread, but the severity is quite high, obviously. So that's a good idea. Did I don't know if I fully understood what you may have been saying there about like any impact to behavior if you're using it and you disable it. Does that like change any sort of like functionality that's important related to data, or like is it more performance related, or what's the impact of
Yeah.
changing it, disabling it on the fly?
It's mainly performance related and
Mm.
also related to chart costs if you're running in the cloud. So read affinity, if you're running in say AZ one and you have to read from an OSD and in another AZ, that's cross AZ charges. So you will not get the benefits of those cost savings and performance savings really if you don't have to go across AZs. But functionality wise, the data will still be not really functionally changing. It's an optimization really that you won't
Okay,
have with this release.
got cool. That sounds like a fair trade-off. I would take a little less performance, maybe more charges, but not corrupt data.
Temporarily. Yeah,
Yep,
exactly.
that sounds fair. Okay.
Yeah, but I've got
Mhm.
a quick observation here. So why is this issue open while there's a merge PR attached to it? Has it been reopened because it isn't fixed in Ceph?
So it was closed automatically because I merged our Rook PR yesterday to
Yeah,
disable it,
exactly.
and I reopened it for visibility so that people will still avoid that
Yeah,
Ceph
okay, that was
upgrade
my guess. Thanks.
if they have read affinity. So the
All
recommendation
good.
is if you have read affinity, like just wait for the next patch release of Ceph. Don't upgrade to Tentacle
Okay.
yet.
Yeah, thanks for confirming.
Mhm. Yeah. So we'll get
Uh,
that patch
yeah.
out today.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So yeah, that was my question. Is it's that disabling of it goes out in the patch today.
Yeah.
Anything else worth mentioning then on 1.18 before we bump to 1.19?
I think at this point, just a general comment, we'll probably go to like monthly patch releases for the next couple months of 1.18, just since 1.19 becomes our primary focus now. Unless there's something urgent, we can always get a release out sooner. That's all.
Okay, sounds good. Then let's take a looky here at 1.19 as we are in the final home stretch here.
Mhm.
Let's talk about blocking stuff, most likely the most important there.
Yeah, but the Ceph CSI 3.16 release, I just talked to them today. They're planning on having that out by tomorrow, and then integrated with Rook. Yeah, tomorrow. That should be done. So we'll get those, get that integrated, and that's really the last blocking issue exactly. But MVMUF, yeah, I want to talk about that for a bit, and Josh had some thoughts on it too. So my thought on this MVMUF, it's a big new feature. We've been working on it for the last couple months, quite a bit of focus time. It's a new gateway in Ceph that's become available with Ceph Tentacle. It's still an early version of the feature. I'd say Ceph is still making a lot of changes to improve things so that it has a better API really from our perspective. But it feels like the PR is to the point where it feels like experimental mode. So we can let people start using it, not in production, but they can start testing with it, try it out, give us feedback, and then we can think about GAing it, maybe for 1.20 or later, probably later if we're relying on Ceph changes that are still coming. But a thought about experimental features. We historically have not had many people give feedback on experimental features, honestly. So it's really up to us to decide when we think something is stable in the future. But it's definitely far from stable. I don't claim it's stable at all, but we feel like it's close enough for experimental feature. So that's my thought. Josh, yeah, do you want to expand on your thoughts?
Uh, yeah, I would summarize sort of the various thoughts that I've had in the last couple of days into. I think I'd be ready to take it under the experimental banner as long as there were some acceptance tests to it. I'm I haven't tried to use it myself in an own build to play with it because I haven't thought it's actually even to that point. Like I see things with it I thought wouldn't work. Um, so if it was to the point where there was
Mhm.
some end-to-end integration tests that were working, then yeah, I would be okay with going forward. I mean, it's a huge feature. There's been a ton of work on it, and I kind of feel like
Mhm.
I should have been making some comments on the PR saying this is great work. You're doing lots of great work here because I'm enthusiastic about it. It's just it's such a large feature, and it's been through so many revisions. It's becoming difficult to stay on top of what's going on with it.
Yeah, I definitely agree on that point. It's big. It's got over 200 comments on it
Yeah,
and lots of suggestions. We'll
but
take
I
some
don't think
follow-up things. Mhm.
I don't think there's any reasonable way to split this up. Like this is really kind of the I think the bare minimum of what you need to go. So splitting this up into multiple PRs that would be lower review burden. I don't think it's going to get you there. It really kind of needs to be all together so that it's actually some working functionality.
Yeah. My thought on the integration test, yes, we actually want to prioritize that. At the same time, for experimental features, we've not um, prioritized that in the past at the time of experimental feature. So we base experimental features based on manual testing, as is the case this time. So I guess if we're okay with manual testing, that's the thing is things are going to change too. And if we invest in the CI too soon, we'll have to rewrite it with new Ceph design later too. Uh, I don't know. I see your concern too, though. It just feels like when PRs are so big, and it's like okay, it's good enough maybe to start trying it out.
Sure. Have you
Um,
successfully manually tested it?
but I have not. It's really been ODED at this point.
Yeah.
That's a fair question.
So
But
that's
really
really
test it.
that's really part of my
Sorry.
concern here.
as far as who's tested it.
Yeah, there's some
Or, I mean,
independent verification that this actually is at the level of it works. Because, like I said, there was some stuff I saw in it yesterday that I was fairly sure it wasn't in a working state.
and it's still depending on like a private image somewhere. And with the CSI release tomorrow, that's supposed to be resolved at least. So that's fair. We can't fully test it end to end in Minikube yet either. So we'll see if we can. That's fair. I'll try and do an independent test by tomorrow before we merge it for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I will defer to other people on this. I don't want to be the voice of saying I'm blocking it. I'm not. I'm just saying, for me looking through it, I kind of have some concerns that it was actually at the level of it would actually work for anybody. And that may have changed. There's been a ton of changes overnight that I haven't caught up on yet.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So that's fair request. We'll get some independent verification too. But holding off on CI for now is what I would propose, I guess.
I'll defer to your wisdom on that. For me personally, I'm sure you know this. I would have been writing the integration tests as I went along. So
Of course, yes, and that is the preferred approach as much as possible. Yeah.
And then in this PR is the like experimental flag, or putting it behind the feature gate. Is that already included in this, or is that TBD still?
And we don't really have a flag per se. It's really just a note in the documentation and the blog and things. So that is in the documentation. All right. Well, I got to double check at least. But yeah, we'll be clear about that at least.
Cool.
Yep. So.
Okay. Travis, I had a question on this one here. If that release doesn't get cut to, like, we were expecting it today or tomorrow, if that doesn't get cut, then we hold as well. We block until that's truly blocking our release.
Yeah, that one is truly blocking.
Okay.
NVMeF, we could. Another idea with NVMeF is to put it in a .1 patch release if we want another week or two. Like, it's experimental. It's fine to come in a patch release and still blog about it with the main release. But I think I'd rather get it in. So I still want to push for that, I guess.
Yeah, I guess the outcome of the testing effort on it can inform that probably.
That can
greatly.
determine it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Any other of these issues worth mentioning, chatting about, or we've got these two big ones here that are the main ones on the radar?
Yeah, exactly. I think other ones are just kind of backlog items. Nice to have at some point.
Alrighty.
Does anybody else think there are other blocking issues? That's all I'm tracking.
I don't know if it would be blocking, but I think dumping the AWS V1 SDK is becoming urgent.
Okay. Yeah, I know there's a PR in progress for that.
Yeah, I think it's really been stalled out for months.
Yeah. I think Oded looked at it over break, but I'm not sure it got anywhere still.
Yeah, I mean, clearly he's had a lot on his plate
with this NVMe.
Yeah. Just a few minor things on his plate. But yeah, maybe we should ping him and see if he's intending to follow through that, or if he should throw it back. As sooner or later, there's going to be a CVE on that, I'm sure.
Yeah, I think I looked into it superficially some long time ago, like many months ago, and it's not as simple as it may initially seem. It's not just about bumping the version, but you have to adjust the callers also. So that's a little bit more tricky, I guess. At least I didn't really follow up on it after having a superficial look. But as mentioned, that's been a lot earlier last year.
Yeah, it's not just a simple version change. You
exactly,
have to rewrite some
that's my
stuff.
point. Yeah.
I think I have some of the integration tests using V2 already. So it's like it's not that difficult of conversion, but it's going to take some time for somebody to have to walk through and do it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't remember
Some busy
now.
work.
So you started down just updating or doing some tests with it, or were there
Yeah,
code
so I
changes with that too?
basically anything new that I was touching, I started using V2 because I've been using V2 for
Mhm.
non-Rook stuff already for quite a while. Um, so yeah, it's just work. It's not like hard work, but somebody has to put in the time to do it.
Yeah, busy work. But if you already got experience with that version of the API, sounds like you're the man for it.
Yeah, I was fearing that it would come to that conclusion. If the current owner of the ticket doesn't think they're going to get it done in, like, say, the next month or something, then I would be willing to consider ticking it up. I mean, I think I'm the one that opened the ticket, so.
Okay. Well, see,
Sorry for putting on the spot here, Josh.
yeah, if we can get the NVMeUF merged, then if Oded can make that his next priority, and maybe to work with you or get input from you, that would help, because if he was getting stuck, your insight may help it move along too.
Sure,
So
absolutely.
that's a good point. Okay.
All right. Okay, so I think we've talked about everything for 1.19 and all the milestones here. Let's move on then to the community topics. First one is about self-releases, which we did some of the stuff related to Tentacle, but we didn't. I don't think we talked about latest squid there.
Yeah, these notes are mostly from last time. I just carried them over to point out what current leases we have. Squid 1923, it's still the latest and our default in Rook. And we'll keep that as our default even with our 1.19 release until we get that data corruption issue fixed in release. Yeah, then those notes on Tentacle, we already talked about.
Yep.
And then Umbrella, I don't have any updates on if that's on track for April, but that was the goal I heard about at Cephalocon. Yeah.
Has there been any motion? Has anyone heard about another Squid release? I'm concerned that we're never going to get a .4, that it's going to fall off.
I mean, I've not been able to get a timeline. I asked in the Ceph Slack, and other people liked it and said, "Yes, we need to know." And like they're all, "Nope, not happening yet." The Ceph upstream releases are really quite frustrating, honestly. I think we all agree on that. So it takes so long to get them these days. I don't have a good answer there.
Agreed.
I mean, I think they're still even trying to do a last reef release .8 or something, even though it's officially several months past support.
Yeah, I'm still running Reef. I've been looking at the tracker. I mean, I'm actually surprised at the number of installations that are on Tentacle at this point and Squid. But yeah, I'm still running Reef because I've got concerns about breakage. So
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know how to move that train faster, but I wish it would.
Alrighty. Yep, Travis is not the train mover in upstream stuff. We can conclude. All right. KubeCon. So the Travis, has anyone heard about when we get like the notifications? That's what I'm looking for. Notification for selected or not?
I think I'm not sure actually, because I think they wanted them created by like first week of February.
Yeah, there's only like 3 weeks to make the video, but I don't think anyone knows if they've been selected or not yet.
Right.
So that's kind of not a great timeline to be working on it, honestly.
And I think next week we're supposed to find out about the maintainers talk acceptance officially.
That's next week? Okay.
I think so.
All right. So yeah, so nobody knows nothing yet.
Yeah. And I was planning on creating the video, but if anybody wants to help with that or even drive it, happy to share. It's just not usually everybody's first priority.
Alrighty. Well, I don't see anything else in the agenda here. Does anybody else have any other topics they wanted to bring up?
I have one small thing, if we've got time here. I've been thinking about, well, actually came out of the NVMEF about specifying an image that is not the base Ceph image that's used for all of the other services. I've been thinking about the similar thing actually for Ceph NFS so that we can upgrade Ganesha independently. Uh, I don't know if you know the backstory on this, but I've been trying to get Ganesha 7.0 merged into Ceph for the Ceph container builds for like 3 months now. I'm not getting much traction on it, and I would really like to be able to control the version of Ganesha that I'm running. So it seems like the most straightforward way to do that is instead of having to replace the OCI image that's used for all the components, being able to just override for CephNFS and set the image. And there's something similar in the NVMeOF work. So I don't know if people have thoughts or feelings about that. I haven't opened it to an issue for this yet.
I don't know, Blaine, do you have thoughts on that? Seems reasonable to me, but
Because I'm having Ganesha problems, so I would like to be able to independently set the version of Ganesha that's running.
yeah. But are you saying you would build that container yourself, basically?
Yeah. So right now, basically the version of Ganesha that's running is just what's in the Ceph OCI images, and it hasn't been changed in forever. And talking to people at Cephalcon about it, they're like, "Oh, you shouldn't be using an ancient version like that. That is completely not the correct version to be using. Why aren't you using a newer Ganesha?" And I'm like, "Well, but that's the version that's coming in the official images. I thought that was what you were supposed to be doing." And like, "No, no, don't do that." Like, and apparently that's not what's done in data foundations. So
Okay, yeah, I don't even know. Blaine, are you on mute? Looks like you're speaking. Can you hear us?
Try to just switch over to my
there you go.
laptop microphone. Sorry, my headphones are dying and they don't work well when there's just one. Um, yeah, in general, I don't think it's unreasonable. I do think we want to be careful because the Ganesha version isn't super tightly connected to the Ceph version, but it's not totally separated, and there are definitely decisions we make in Rook around what's happening in those official Ceph images. So yeah, if we do enable this, I want to make sure it's very clear. Like this is an advanced option. If there are things that aren't working well, like this is generally outside of like what we would help users debug. Like for Josh, like I don't care because you can make contributions and like communicate needs to us very like clearly that a lot of users wouldn't be able to. So I think that sounds good to continue with, also with the acknowledgement that that's like an advanced case that we might not
Right.
be able to help average users with.
And I should say there is an alternative to this, and that is that you can just use a single image for everything. So I could take the official Ceph OCI image, I could modify the Ganesha version that's in it, although they have made that a pain because they've actually deleted the yum configuration for the repo, so you have to manually add it yourself to update it and blah, blah, blah. But I could certainly do that. The only reason I don't want to do that is that then I'm not running the official upstream image for my other components. And although I know that they would be the same, somebody else might not. So there's some value, I think, in having saying I am using for every other component for RGW or whatever, I'm using the official OCI image, and I've only overridden specifically the image for these components. So I think the semantics would still be that Ceph NFS just uses the default global image unless you've set an image field on it, and then you can override it for just that one component, something like that.
Yeah, and I think overriding the image is also a fairly straightforward thing, right? Like for us to do from a development side of things. I think it's more around like just communicating expectations for the average Rook user.
Yeah, I mean, we could even lock it behind a feature gate. We could say you've got to do something to enable overriding for.
Yeah. Yeah, let's continue talking. I mean, I don't know. I think offline because I don't feel like I have any brilliant thoughts right now.
Okay, I'll open an issue. I've been intending to do that, and it just sort of spaced me until I was sitting here.
That's good.
All righty. Any other topics then? All right. Well, then I guess we can go ahead and adjourn. And good to see everybody today. And we'll be looking forward to wrapping up everything for 19 and getting that out the door hopefully soon.
Sounds good. Thanks, everyone.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks,
Yeah.
folks.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.